Alright guys, so I've been tagged quite a while ago by Sprites and Bytes, and I didn't realise I'd been tagged. Apparently he did send me a message on the old Book of Faces. I either read it and forgot or completely missed it or something. Anyway, I've been tagged, so I'm going to do the tag because I will not turn down a direct tag. It's free content. No, but seriously, yeah, Sprites and Bytes is obsessed I say, with this idea of a mashup of games. It's a question he always asks. If you do a Q&A video and he's subscribed to you, I guarantee he will ask you to come up with an idea of a mashup between two existing video games. And he's got a new series called Show and Tell, and in the first, is it the first? Anyway, in this series, Show and Tell, one of the videos that he did, that he tagged me in, was to mash up two games, and there was a certain specification for this, and that was you had to choose two games that started with the initials of your initials. So my initials are BM. So these are the two games I've chosen to mash up, and I think this would make quite an interesting amalgamation. So obviously my name is Ben, so the first game I've chosen for the initial of B is Blinks, the Time Sweeper. Actually this is Blinks 2, as you can see, Master of Time and Space, because he has extra powers in here. Not only can he manipulate time, he can also manipulate space. So very interesting powers in these games, very inventive gameplay. I really do enjoy these. Didn't get the success that they deserve. Very fun games, unique feel to them, cool ways of playing with the element of time, and in this game elements of space as well. So fast forwarding, rewinding, pausing, and for the space you could create black holes, void traps and things like that. Anyway, so take those controls, take those powers and place them in the world of Manhunt. Yes, that's right. The spooky, gritty, you know, just nasty, horrible, scary world of Manhunt. To have sort of time controls and weird space manipulation controls in this type of universe would make a pretty flippin' unique game, I reckon. So there you go, Gareth. There's your game. Blinks crossed with Manhunt. Okay. Right, now, he's also done another video in this series of Show and Tell, and the next one that he did, the most recent one he did in the Show and Tell series, was to basically show off your rare stroke expensive games. And he, you know, put proviso in there. You know, some people would say this is kind of showing off, you know, a gratuitous look at the lovely shiny things I've got. Well, that's what pickup videos are. That's what we like to do. We like to share what we have. And he says, you know, don't be ashamed of it. You've earned your money. You know, you worked for the money that bought those games, so why not be proud of them? And so I'm going to show off some rare / expensive games. Some of them not expensive, some of them not rare, but they fall into those either or both of those categories. And I know they're obviously not going to hold a candle to some people's rare games. I mean, there are ridiculously expensive games out there and insanely rare games out there. I ain't looking to compete with that level of collecting. I don't have the funds for it, but I'm happy with what I've got, and so this is some of the stuff that I have got. I'm going to start off with original Xbox. It's a system that there isn't too many legitimately rare or expensive games on, but within that system, I would say some of these for that system they're relatively rare / dear. So anyway, the first one I've got is Siberia. The first Siberia, fairly hard to get hold of. You don't see it very often. It didn't cost a lot, but it's fairly uncommon. Siberia on the original Xbox. It's kind of like Myst. Is it kind of like Myst? Am I talking out of my arse? It looks very interesting. I haven't played it yet, so I won't talk about it. I won't try and wing it. Siberia. Okay. Yeah. Next one I showed this fairly recently in a pickup video, and it is Magatama. It's a Japanese exclusive. So it's kind of rare here in the UK, probably not so much in Japan, but I live in the UK, therefore it is rare here, where I am. Magatama. There's a bunch of other Japanese exclusives I got, that's indicative of those. I have a bunch of Jap exclusive original Xbox games that you ain't going to see too often on these shows, so happy to have those, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, you know, not too many expensive games on the original Xbox. One that's going up in price a little bit is Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. It's like a cool kind of like a theme park type game with Jurassic Park, obviously themed to it. Players like theme park. It looks fantastic. Have to admit again, not played it yet. Have many hundreds of games to get through. Quite a few of these are games that I have not yet played. Does not mean I don't have respect for them or expect to enjoy them very much. Yeah, so anyway, next on original Xbox is the Grand Theft Auto triple pack, obviously with GTA 3, obviously San Andreas and Vice City. It's you know, it's not that it's not expensive at all, but it's certainly not that common either. You'll find, you know, you'll find a few copies of it on eBay all the time, but usually not too many in great condition. Happy to have this complete and in really good nick. So the GTA triple pack, nice to have. Okay, this is probably the most expensive game on original Xbox when it's complete, and that is with the dedicated controller. And I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about. It is, of course, Steel Battalion. That mental 40 button huge controller that I have still yet to master. I need to, one day I will sit down and master this game and enjoy using that insane controller. So yeah, that fully boxed with the box and the controller, it goes up well over 100 quid. I managed to get the controller and the game and the second game as well. There's 2 games. The second one I think is only multiplayer. You don't need to be online though, you can play it link up with 2 huge controllers linked up, which I did see recently in the Nottingham, what's it called, the National Video Game Arcade, a new place in Nottingham that's pretty cool to visit. I did a video on it recently if you saw it. If not, I'll link it below. And they actually had 2 controllers and a system link up of Steel Battalion set up. And yeah, as I said in the video, the attendant in that room had the worst job in the building, because he's having to explain this controller to people that have clearly never set eyes on the thing before, and he's having to do that umpteen times a day and just watch as these people try and learn how to use a controller, give up after 5 minutes and fuck off and do something more simple. But sorry, I'm quite bunged up today. So Steel Battalion, probably the most expensive game on original Xbox. I managed to get it pretty damn cheap, 50 quid with Xbox and a load of other games and controllers included, although I didn't actually get the original box for the Steel Battalion controller. That's obviously what puts the price up on that item quite a lot. But the controller itself is fairly, you know, hard to get hold of. So right, what are we going to go for next? On Nintendo 64, this is probably the most expensive and uncommon game that I've got on that system. It's Paper Mario. It's Paper Mario in pretty decent nick. I managed to get that for 55 quid. It has steadily gone up since I bought it. I really need to put this in a box protector, because, you know, the N64 boxes, you just have to breathe on them and you're going to devalue it. But yeah, the N64 collection is something that I've ummed and ahed of whether or not to keep hold of or whether to sell on, because I now have an EverDrive cart for the N64 and I've got every single game on the system that I can play natively on the original hardware. I don't need this or any of the small collection of N64 boxed games that I've got, but I think I'm going to hold on to them because I think I do see this system, the games creeping up in price a little bit. I'm just going to turn the track because this is probably not the best one for background music. How do I do that? Right, so that's the only one I've got to show for N64. Staying with Nintendo for a bit, I just recently got this game. In fact, I picked it up today. I had to go to the post office to pick it up. You didn't need to know that. Anyway, so I really was going to save this for a pickup video, but I want to talk about it now. And it's probably the rarest, well, it definitely is the rarest Wii U game that I've got. Yes, there are some rare Wii U games already. Now this is a little kind of caveat here. This is only rare in Europe. It is Scribblenauts Unmasked. And the reason it's kind of rare here in Europe is it is a PAL game, it is a PAL release, but it only got released under PAL in Australia. So obviously the proviso is, the caveat is, you know, that it did get released in the US. So overall it's not a rare game, but in Europe on PAL systems you're not going to see this too often. You know, in England, in Europe, although it does say on the back compatible only with the European and Australian Wii U's. Even though it did only get released as PAL in Australia. So, you know, relatively uncommon Wii U game in my native format. So, yeah, Scribblenauts Unmasked. Very happy to get that for 30 quid. Pretty decent. Yeah, not played it yet, obviously, just picked it up. Right, let's stay with Nintendo. Let's stay. So I've got a few Virtual Boy games to show now. If you've been subscribed for a long time, you'll have seen a video that I did, a few videos that I did on the Virtual Boy. I really do like the system quite a lot. It's a shame that it never got that second wave of games that was planned. But one of the one of the second wave of Virtual Boy games that was planned ended up getting a sort of a strange release. It wasn't released. It was the code for the game managed to get out into the community, and it's got a very strong. The Virtual Boy has got a very passionate but small homebrew community. Somebody actually managed to take this ROM, stick it on original Virtual Boy cartridges, and they, you know, they weren't selling it. They were doing a swap system. So you would send them a donor cartridge of a different Virtual Boy game. You'd send them 2 cartridges basically, and in return they would send you the new cartridge for this game with the ROM on it. Did I explain that clearly? Who knows? The game is Bound High. So again, a long time ago when I looked quite different, I'll link the video. Yeah, I made the box for this. I made the box, printed it out off the internet, put it onto cardboard, cut it up. Made the box for Bound High, which is a really fun game, and it really uses the 3D in the Virtual Boy very well. I got this for free. It's probably the rarest game that I've got overall in my entire collection, purely for the fact that it was never actually released, and the number of games that, you know, the homebrew community got out into the community, you know, wasn't that massive. Very lucky to get this for free, and you know, happy to have obviously accentuated it by making the box. So Bound High, probably the rarest game in my collection. I got it for nothing, effectively. A couple of cartridges, a couple of Virtual Boy cartridges that I wasn't doing anything with anyway. And so that's Bound High, yeah, very happy to have that. So also on the Virtual Boy, have Waterworld. Loose cartridge, unfortunately. Box disc goes for well over 150 quid. Loose cartridge these days, I think you're looking at about 60, 70, 80 quid. Waterworld, terrible game, but it was a game that I think I'm right in saying this is one of the games that was planning on using the 2-player link-up cable that never even got released. That's how quickly the Virtual Boy died. It never even got the 2-player link-up cable that was planned for it. So there's Waterworld. Okay, then I have a couple of other games, not massively expensive, but again, not pretty uncommon. We have Virtual Fishing. No interest, just really enjoyed collecting for the Virtual Boy. And Space Squash, a very, very fun game. Again, uses the 3D really well, as you're playing squash into and out of the screen kind of thing. Very cool game. Got both of these for around 50 quid each, and yeah, fairly uncommon, like really nice to have those. But the most expensive game on Virtual Boy, and I think this is the game that I've paid the most for overall in my entire collection, and that is Insamaus no Yakata. It is a kind of maze game. Try and show you some screenshots. Focus, there we go. So it's sort of a maze game. You make your way through this kind of haunted house scenario. It's very, very difficult. Not easy to play either. Not the best game in the world. But yeah, probably the game that I've spent the most money on. And that's, it shouldn't have been though. I got the game for about 105 quid. 105 quid. It delivered from Japan. But because of some kind of mix up with the sending of it, I ended up having to pay the £25 import charges on it. Whereas I can't remember where it's from, might not be in Japan, but wherever it came from, I ended up paying an extra 25 quid import charges for the privilege of picking this up. And that really stung, because that took it to above. It was a good deal at the time when I paid for it, actually on the old Bay of Fleas. But with that added extra, yeah, that really stung, having to pay that to pick it up. But so it worked out being the most expensive game in my collection after that occurred. But Intimaus no Yakata, it's a curious thing. It's a curious thing to have. Right, I think that's all in Nintendo. Let's move swiftly over to Sega. Okay, and right, here we go. We have on the Sega Saturn we have Shining Force 3. Fairly uncommon game. Got that for about £67. Not a bad deal. It's held its value. It's in cracking condition, and really happy to have it. And it's in one of those really nice plastic Saturn cases that they should have used from the start. And if they had the Saturn, would have been a much more attractive proposition to collect for. But Shining Force 3, yeah, it's an RPG. It's Shining Force. It's amazing. It's cool. Yeah, happy to have it. Also on the Sega Saturn. Now this is one of two games that I've had for a long time, and one of two games that I had displayed behind me on the shelves in all my old videos, shamelessly showing off the most impressive games in my collection at that time. And one of those was Panzer Dragoon Saga, of course. I got this for, I think it was £109. It's not fairly decent price for it, complete in box and decent nick. I had a copy of this years ago, which I got for a fair amount cheaper than that, but I ended up selling that to fund a ticket for Glastonbury. At the time I was quite hard up and needed the money for the festival. Sold it and ended up having to re-buy it again for, you know, about 20 quid more. I lost about 20 quid overall between the two transactions, but never mind, it had to be in the collection. Panzer Dragoon Saga, genuinely awesome game, pretty damn rare. You know, I wouldn't say it's hard to find. It's always going to be copies of it on eBay and that, but there's not that many copies of it overall, especially on PAL format. But yeah, Panzer Dragoon Saga, bosh, boxed and complete. The other game that I had on display behind me on the shelves for quite a long time, as I was just that proud of owning it, and it's Snatcher on the Mega CD. Really cool game. Everybody knows about this, I think. Kind of Blade Runner style feel to it. Kind of sort of a point and click adventure kind of thing with. There's also light gun elements in there as well, though. But it's the feel of it, the storytelling, the cyberpunk kind of theme to it. It's a really funky game, really cool, and adult feeling, which was rare back in the day. The Mega CD did have a few kind of more adult feel games on there, and this is one of them, Snatcher. Got that for, I think it was an even £100 actually. So happy to have that. Yeah, Snatcher, very cool game. Right, well, I've had this on display as well actually in the past, in quite a lot of my old videos. And on Mega CD again, it's Shining Force CD. Got that for £67, something like that. Yeah, what can you say about that? Shining Force, another classic, and happy to have it. Not really much to say about it. Haven't played it yet, so I can't really say much about it. Staying with the Mega CD, we have Magical Potful Mail. It is a platform RPG, and that's what it bills itself as. And it's by Working Designs, and they were pretty well known for having some great RPGs. Quite, there's a fair few on the Mega CD, Sega CD rather. This didn't get a European release, so yeah, I got this imported from America, and it's up there with some of the most expensive games in my collection. I can't remember exactly what I paid for it. It's about 120 quid. I just got impatient. I was following it for months, various auctions of it and various listings, and I just got impatient, and there was a point where I'd had a bit of extra money in my eBay account because I'd sold some stuff and made a bit of profit on that, so I thought, well, I've got this money spare. Oh, that was it. No, that was it. Mega Turrican. I got a copy of Mega Turrican that was listed wrongly, so I got the refund for it for 30 quid. So I spent that 30 quid on making up the difference on what I would have liked to have paid for it on one that was listed at a bit higher. So I feel like I got this for 30 quid less than I paid for it. That was a really nice feeling. I guess that kind of cancels out the Intimaus no Yakata in the scheme of things. You see, it all works out in the end. Karma comes around. It's good. Anyway, yeah, so I paid 30 quid less than the listing for it, which was about the money that I'd wanted to have paid for it. A very cool looking mix of RPG elements and platforming. Not got into it yet, for the same reason that I've not played a lot of the games in my retro collection, and that is I still do not have a CRT TV set up in my game room. If you've been subscribed for a long time, you'll know I've said that many times. But it's okay, there's no rush. There's no rush. I'm not planning on getting hit by a bus tomorrow. There's plenty of time to get around to the old stuff. And I want to do them justice by playing them on a CRT. So yeah, that'll happen when I get one. So yeah, Potful mail. Right, what else we got? Right, onto the Mega Drive now. Yep, fairly uncommon. Post-system release, post-market release, what do you call it? Anyway, Pierre Solar. The biggest Mega Drive cartridge released in terms of memory. 64 meg cart, a gorgeous looking RPG. You probably all know about this game. It's unique, it's compatible in all regions, made by Watermelon, a company that is still going and still putting this game out on various formats. They've done an update that's going to come out on Dreamcast, and I think Wii U, I think loads of it, PS4, Wii U I've heard. I'm sure Adam Kornick said this game's coming out on some of the current systems as well, the updated version. But a really cool RPG, and lovely to have it on the original platform, the Mega Drive, so nice. And I got that for about 40 quid. It's quite good on that. It's certainly gone up in price a little since I got it, I believe. Another kind of aftermarket release, another RPG on the Mega Drive, and it is Beggar Prince. And yeah, I think, was this? I can't even remember. I can't remember too much about it. I'm going to save what I'm going to talk about this for a later video, because I do plan on doing a video of my entire Mega Drive Mega CD RPG collection. I've been looking to do that video for a long time, but various different reasons I've kind of delayed doing it. But so Beggar Prince, an aftermarket release, yeah, for the Mega Drive, put out by Super Fight Team. Yeah, so there you go. Can't remember how much I paid for that. And then on the Mega Drive, Pulseman, a very cool, very unique, very visually appealing Mega Drive game, only released in Japan. And this is the original full complete version. And this is one of the games that is quite commonly reproduced now. You'll find a lot of reproductions of this going around. And that's why it's kind of difficult collecting some of the rarer stuff from Mega Drive. You have to be careful not to pick up the repros, you know, if you're looking for the authentic stuff. There's loads of rarer Mega Drive games that I'd like to have, but I just do not want the repros if I can help it. Things like Twinkle Tail. So yeah, Postman, got that for about 65 quid. Not a bad deal. It's certainly gone for a lot more on the listings that I've seen. But it's a really cool looking platformer. Yes, there you go. Pretty sure I've done a gameplay for this video. If I have, if it's still on my channel, I shall link it. And last game I've got to show you is another Mega Drive game. It's Alien Soldier. Got that for about 60 quid. Yeah, it's less than it usually goes for. I think there is a mark on it somewhere. I can't remember now. Yeah, it's not in A1 condition, but it's pretty decent. It is complete. It is Alien Soldier. It is a balls hard side-scrolling shooter platform type game by is it Treasure? Who made this game? I think it's Treasure. It's very cool. Anyway, that's it. That is it. Yeah, that's all my rare / expensive games. And Sprites and Bytes finally got round to responding to the tag. That's it. Go check out Sprites and Bytes if you haven't already. A very cool guy, cool channel. And that's it for now. Alright guys, see you later.